Beloved sisters and brothers, in our Maronite liturgy, we commemorate this week the week of the righteous and the just. And throughout this whole week, we meditate on texts from the Gospels around the teachings of Jesus of who the righteous and the just are. And the perfect text to describe who the righteous and the just are is the text of the Sermon on the Mountain. It describes perfectly how we, as believers in Christ, as disciples of Christ, should act, should live our lives according to His teachings. We in the Catholic Church believe that all Catholics should strive, should work on to be righteous and just all their lives. And according to today's Gospel, we can be righteous and just if we work to fulfill the kingdom of heaven on earth. We know that we can never be called righteous and just while we are living. The first requirement for us to be called righteous and just is to be dead. Because as long as we live, we can always do mistakes. We can always sin. We can always turn back into evil. But when we pass away, when we die, everyone will remember us. If we did good, we will be counted with the righteous and the just. And if we didn't do good, nobody even will remember us. Because in our services, in our prayers, we always mention those who have nobody to remember them. We mention those who are always remembered, but also those who have nobody to remember them, because we truly believe that we have saints, we have righteous people and just people who have nobody to remember them. That's why we offer prayers to them. So in order to be counted with the righteous and the just, we have to be dead. And death, for us, is not the end. That is the beginning of the journey of the resurrection of the glory with Jesus. Because He was the firstborn of the resurrected. And we are His disciples. We are more than His disciples. We are His sisters and brothers through baptism. We are the children of God through baptism. We are like Him, and when we are united with Him through the Eucharist, we will be Him. We will wear Christ, as St. Paul told us many times in his epistles. We will have Christ in us. That's why our whole service, our whole liturgy is around the hope. Because we do not grieve as people with no hope. We grieve because we lost somebody we knew, somebody we loved, somebody we respected, somebody we admired. And all these respect, love, admiration can be told about George. And I'm sure, I'm not saying any judgment, but I'm sure that George is numbered among the righteous and the just. And his life, his struggles, his way of living was the proof that he is the righteous and the just. I read some of the articles written about him, and I didn't know that. But when he stayed in Vietnam to cover the war afterwards, there's no other proof that he was striving for righteousness. He was in his way working as Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." And we all know how much we need peacemakers in our world. Because to attend peace, and peace is not only the absence of war, peace is harmony between all of us. If we don't have people who work for peace, if we don't have people to work for righteousness, as George did throughout his life, we will be living in a chaotic world with no harmony, with no love, with no respect, with no admiration. And George did not only do that, but he also tried to pass on these virtues and values of his to his sons first, to witness to them in front of his family, and to pass them also to his teachings. And that's what we need to remember about him. We believe, according to the Old Testament, that if the person is always remembered, he will never be dead. That's why we are immortals. Because if we always remember, if we have always the names of the people that we love in our memory, if they're inscribed in our memories, they will never be dead. And I think George's name will be forever in the book of life as a righteous and just who worked in his most being and strived always for peace, for righteousness, and for justice.